Today's story is about a girl who goes on a sea trip with her mum and her mum's boyfriend. However, the trip takes a terrifying turn when she discovers that her mum's boyfriend is a dangerous man involved in smuggling girls. What happens next will unfold in today's story. The story begins with a girl named Rose, shown with bruises on her face and body, looking like she's recently endured a traumatic incident and still in shock. The narrative then shifts to a flashback where we see Rose's mother, Alma, returning from work. Rose approaches her from behind and wishes her happy birthday, which is the following day. Alma then asks Rose to finish packing since they plan to go on a trip with Alma's boyfriend. Rose is reluctant but agrees to go at her mother's insistence. Afterward, Rose takes the car keys from her mum and leaves for her night shift at a hotel. The next morning she returns home as Alma is heading out with luggage, ready for the trip. Although Rose isn't excited, she goes along to make her mother happy. On the way, she asks her mum about her boyfriend. Alma says she hasn't known him long but thinks he's a good person, which surprises Rose, wondering how her mum could trust someone she barely knows. They soon reach their destination, where Alma meets her boyfriend Derek. He shows them a map, explaining that they'll pass near the Bermuda Triangle and should reach their destination by Tuesday. While Alma retrieves luggage from the car, Rose, smoking a short distance away, sees a man approaching her mum. Later, Rose asks her mum what the man wanted, and she explains he only asked where she was going. It's here that Rose meets Derek for the first time. Derek tells them he bought a second-hand boat named Annalisa for the trip. The three set out on the journey, celebrating Alma's birthday on the boat and enjoying the moment together. Derek gifts Alma a t-shirt and gives Rose a knife. When Rose asks about his work, Derek says he used to be a policeman, but now works as a private security consultant. He then teaches Rose to tie knots and helps her learn to navigate the boat. The celebration continues, with Derek showing Rose how to steer the boat while Alma takes photos and videos on her phone. Suddenly, Alma is knocked into the water by the boat's mainsail. Derek throws her a life jacket and sends Rose to fetch blankets and a first aid kit. Rose, upon entering the cabin, is shocked by something she sees, but still brings the necessary items for her mother. Alma, thankfully uninjured, apologizes to Rose, saying she accidentally dropped her phone into the water. Noticing the weather worsening, they move below deck. Alma expresses unease about traveling so far and suggests they return home. But Derek reassures her, saying the weather will clear up by morning. The following day, Rose comes up to find her mum already sitting and drinking. Rose, feeling unhappy and wanting to go back home, shares her feelings, but Alma encourages her to enjoy the moment. Shortly after, Derek joins them and Rose asks about the rifle on board. He says he keeps it for safety and as a hobby. Rose then expresses her desire to try it, and Derek teaches her how to shoot. Impressed by her skill, Derek praises her. In the next scene, Rose notices a distant boat through her binoculars. Meanwhile, Derek and Alma are drinking, and they invite Rose to join them. However, Rose soon feels dizzy and returns to her room to sleep. Later, she wakes up to noises and finds another boat approaching theirs, colliding directly with them. Two men board and, at gunpoint, demand something from Derek, who claims he doesn't know what they're talking about. Alma screams, pleading with them to let them go, but one of the men injures her. Rose realizes one of these men is the same one she saw speaking with Alma earlier. Here, they call him Captain. Terrified, Rose watches as Alma tells her to hide, and Derek repeatedly insists he has no idea what the men are talking about. Suddenly, Captain shoots both Alma and Derek. Derek takes a bullet to the shoulder and falls overboard. Captain and his companion search the cabin, then depart. Rose, coming out of hiding, sees the boat on fire and tries to extinguish it with a fire extinguisher, only to find her mother's body. She is devastated and falls into shock. The next morning, left alone with a damaged boat and a broken engine, Rose tries to fix it, but fails. She wraps her mother's body in cloth, hoping to bury her properly once they return home. She weeps for her mother, then attempts to call for help, though all equipment is destroyed. Hearing a noise outside, she finds Derek, alive but tied up, floating in the water. She pulls him onto the boat, gives him water and treats his wound. When she shows him a device, asking what it is, Derek lies, saying it's a broken spare part. In truth, this device could send a satellite distress signal, but Derek tells her to leave it and instead suggests raising the sail to move the boat forward. Over the following 2 days, with no option but the small sail, they make slow progress. On the 3rd day, Rose spots an island in the distance. Derek is asleep, so she turns the boat toward the island. Unable to reach the shore with just the sail, they take a raft. Derek, with an injured hand, can't row, so Rose does it. Midway, she accidentally drops an oar, and while trying to retrieve it, she falls into the water. Not knowing how to swim, she begins to drown. Derek dives in and saves her, performing CPR to revive her. Coming to, Rose follows Derek into a nearby cave where he finds drinking water. She suggests they find a way back home, but Derek insists they must stay there overnight. They spend the night on the island, with Derek sharing that he was once a good, honest cop, but turned corrupt after feeling unappreciated and abandoned by his wife. Eventually, he joined dangerous people, including Captain. Derek admits that Captain smuggles young girls and that he took something valuable from him, leading to the attack that killed Alma. As they talk, Derek takes advantage of a moment to tie Rose's hand, pretending to teach her a knot. Realizing Derek's true nature, she tries to resist, eventually freeing herself and running to the boat. However, Derek chases her, reloading his gun, and shoots but misses. Rose hides, untying herself and planning her escape. The next morning, she sees Derek still searching for her. Her plan is to escape using the raft, but he spots her and shoots, though she manages to avoid his bullets. In the chaos, Derek falls from a cliff, injuring himself, and when Rose checks on him, he attacks her with a knife. Determined to escape, she hits him with a rock, retrieves the device, and heads back to the boat alone. There, she bandages her wounds and sleeps, but awakens to find the boat sinking. Gathering essential supplies, she tries to bring her mother's body onto the raft, but it slips into the water. Heartbroken, she cuts the raft loose from the sinking boat and drifts for 2 days, unsure of what to do. On the 3rd day, Rose spots a ship and fires a flare, but she thinks the light might not be seen due to the sunlight. However, at night, the ship returns to rescue her. She's taken aboard a larger vessel, only to realize that the people aboard are Captain's men. She suspects something is wrong and quietly observes them. Eventually, she meets a girl named Tabitha, who appears drugged and learns that many girls like her are aboard, likely captive. Because Derek had said that the captain was involved in smuggling girls, Rose then asked if she could take a bath. They gave her a room, and now she fully understood what she needed to do. She realized that if these people were smuggling girls through this ship, the captain would certainly be on board as well. After bathing and getting ready, she left her room and went towards another room. Upon entering, she saw a man surrounded by others. She asked, "Are you the captain?" He replied, "Yes, I am." She then approached him and tried to attract his attention through conversation. After a while, when she got the chance, she struck the captain on the head, killing him. After leaving that room, she went into another one where she met Tabitha. Seeing the captain dead, his men became alert and started searching for Rose all over the ship. Rose then asked Tabitha where the guns were kept on the ship. Tabitha replied, "There are many guns in the engine room, and just like me, several girls are being held captive here, but none of them can help you because they've all been drugged." Rose then went to the room, took a gun and prepared herself. Suddenly, one of the men noticed her, but Rose quickly shot him dead. She then advanced further to reach the other captive girls, killing each of the captain's men she encountered on the way. Along the way, she also faced off with another girl who worked for the captain. Rose fought her and killed her as well. Then she encountered a large man who grabbed her by the neck, trying to kill her. But somehow she escaped and ultimately shot him too. Afterward, she entered another room where she opened a door and found many young girls being held captive. But before she could rescue them, another of the captain's men appeared and aimed a gun at her. It was a difficult situation, but just then, Tabitha came from behind and struck him on the head, allowing Rose to shoot him with his own gun. After leaving that girl there, Rose went towards the radio room to send a signal for help. On her way, she encountered another man. It was Derek. Seeing him, Rose was shocked and asked, "Didn't you die on that island?" Derek replied, "I made a deal with the captain by informing him about you. Using that device, I escaped the island and now I'm here to kill you. I had this plan with the captain from the beginning and now no one can save you from him." Hearing this, Rose laughed and said, "I've already killed your captain." Derek, enraged, attacked her, throwing her down the stairs. When he returned with a gun, he found Rose had disappeared. He started tracking her by following the blood trail, but as he reached a certain spot, Rose released a chemical on him, causing him to fall. She then took out the same knife that Derek had given her and stabbed him directly in the chest, finishing him off. Exhausted, Rose looked around and saw that all the captain's men had been killed. Tabitha then approached her and said, "Come with me, I want to show you something." Rose went to the ship's deck with the rescued girls and saw that the ship was heading towards a harbour. All the girls were overjoyed as they could finally return home. Upon reaching the harbour, the police took control of the situation. Finally, we return to the beginning of the story, where Rose was narrating the entire incident to a police officer. He praised Rose and informed her that all the girls were being sent home and that she would also be sent back. But Rose, deeply saddened and troubled, said, "I don't want to go back. There's nothing left for me there." However, the officer left, telling her, "You have a future that you fought hard to gain." And with this, the story ends.